What is going on, guys? I wanted to go over another deep dive into how I am scaling my company, Trigify. Now, Trigify is only 5 people big. It's really, really small, but everything that we're doing is 90% automated, and the majority of that automations are being powered by AI agents. Now, today it's going to be a little bit different. We're actually going to deep dive into how I'm using a tool called Clay to effectively run a load of enrichment, which is updating my CRM, Attio, and it's also updating essentially everything, right? And controlling the reach out that we do to individuals and everything like that. So without further ado, let's dive in. Right. So we are using Clay. Clay is like a spreadsheet on steroids that allows you to integrate a load of different other tools into it. Complex, not needed for everyone, but good for what we're trying to do here. So this is some of our users over the past month that have signed up. And we're receiving this data coming in from a webhook via a tool called Clerk, which manages our user authentication. So the first thing that we're doing is I actually have an agent that is essentially going and finding the LinkedIn URLs of these individuals. So it finds the company's find the company LinkedIn URL, and it gets the email domain. From there, we then get the company information. We then go and get the website URL, and then we get all the information on that company. And then we have another agent that gives us a summarization on what that company actually does. So you can see here who they are, cybersecurity, DDoS migration, cloud services, things like that. This is someone who just signed up, quite a large customer. We're then getting an employee count and the locations of these individuals as well, where we're then going and actually finding the LinkedIn profile of the user themselves as well. So this is then going finding the LinkedIn profile of the person that signed up so that we can go and get all of the details on who that person is, i.e. their job title, the location this particular person is based in, their LinkedIn URL, and everything that we want from there. What happens next is we then go and basically get the ID of this particular individual from Attio, because this user will already be updated in Attio through other automations that I've built. Now, what I'm then doing is I'm then essentially running and updating my Attio to include all of the bits of information around the company, around the individual. Because it's no good having the individual in Attio because they've signed up for my platform. I want to know everything about them, their job title, the company size, everything like that, because Attio is my central knowledge base and almost like my data center, right? So then we're updating both the individual and the company itself. Then what we're doing is we're doing an ICP check. So here we're basically saying, okay, are they a manager and a manager level and above, specifically within the growth, demand gen, or marketing space, or C-level executive, where they're based in Europe or the US? If they are, it triggers this NA10 workflow. And this NA10 workflow basically is controlling a email reach out, which is going from one of my co-founders. So you can see here, if they're an ICP fit, it then basically reaches out via one of my co-founders saying, hey, do you want to do a custom onboarding link? Then what we're doing is we're querying what we call we're querying Stripe, essentially, to find the customer information. So are they still on trial? Have they purchased? If they have purchased, what plans have they gotten? And then we're adding this information through to essentially a Google Sheets where we store all the data. Now, the reason that we're doing that is we then have another agent running across the Google Sheets, because you can't run agents across Clay, to query all of this information, to understand who they are, how they've been mentioned, and so on and so on. And that is essentially how we are using Clay to enrich all of our new users coming on, which by proxy is then enriching our whole CRM data at the same time.